Ladies and gentlemen, well, we want to welcome you here to XRL US. It's the 5th round of the season. It's going to be at Hockenheim as we are already preparing for the heat race right away. 8 drivers are anticipated to show up for today's race as we have 8 people in the qualifying race right now. Per usual, set in inverse point lineup. That means that Blockman is going to be... Are you serious? Well, we've lost somebody before we even got into the qualifying race. That's awesome. But we are underway here. Blockman losing the lead immediately, and that will give the top spot for the moment to Question Mark, as Deedsman is trying to make his way up through the field now. But farther in the back, Root Beer King has slipped to the rear of the grid for the moment. Just ahead of him is Perrin, who did not get as good of a start as he wanted. Kosiad Snake and Delphine Lover are already trying to move their way up to the field. Delphine coming off his win last week at Lime Rock. Kosiad Snake on the inside as they go into the hairpin now. Blockman has fallen to third as Deedsman is neck and neck with him as they're running out of the hairpin. Delphine can't get by Kosiad Snake quite as easily as he was hoping to. Deedsman has gotten by Blockman and is starting to pull on him just a bit. Now Delphine looks to the outside of Kosiad Snake. With Aiden Man, your points leader, not showing up today, this could be a perfect chance for Delphine to inherit the points lead if he brings home a good points-paying finish. Kosiad Snake now falls behind Perrin after sliding into the dirt. Blockman still in third. Perrin stalking Delphine. The run down to turn 1 this time. Delphine right underneath Blockman. He's going to run extremely wide coming out of that first corner, and will use the momentum to carry him by Blockman. Now he has Deedsman and Question Mark ahead of him. Run down to the hairpin now. As Perrin has now gotten by Blockman. He looks to make a dive on Delphine. Delphine having a little bit of trouble putting the power down coming out of the hairpin. Perrin looking back on the inside of Delph. It seems like Delph is having a little bit of trouble trying to catch up to the cars ahead. That means that it's going to be Question Mark and Deedsman for a top spot. Question Mark drifting through several of the corners right now, having trouble keeping the power underneath the Red Bull, really sideways, getting onto that front stretch. That will be perfect for Deedsman to try and close in. Doesn't look like it's worked out quite to the level that he wanted it to. He's not closing significantly. So holding on to the top spot for the moment. Deedsman sending it hard under braking Closes right under him. Putting the power down, question mark is all sorts of sideways, but Deed Speedman, being a little bit more conservative, was not able to keep up for the moment. Through that high-speed bend. Delphine not closing. Here comes Deed Speedman. He's going to shoot up to the inside of question mark, neck and neck. That's what Delphine wants to see. He can't overtake these guys. He can't catch up to these guys on pace. But as these two continue to slam 3, 4 times now, this will be a perfect chance for Delphine to close in. Question mark holds on to the top spot now. And Delphine is in the dirt. And Perrin will inherit third now. Deed Speedman seems to be faster and much more aggressive than question mark. It's all going to be a matter of how long can he hold on to that top spot. Both of them run extremely, extremely wide going into the last 2 corners there. Beeman still there behind question mark. Not in a position to do anything to him right now. Question mark had a much better run, getting onto the back straightaway. So he's going to actually pull a larger gap now. Can Delphine close back in on Perrin and try and salvage a 3rd place starting position? .5 seconds out from 3rd. As we turn our focus back onto the battle for what will be the pole position in the main feature race. Deed Speedman within 4/10 of question mark here. Looks to the inside. Question mark got sideways again. Question's really, really weak in the second sector of the racetrack, it seems. He's going to run nice and wide in onto the green to get a little bit more momentum to stay ahead of Deed Speedman for the moment. Oh, and Deed Speedman is out into the dirt now. And now he will plummet to 3rd. Might even lose that to Delphine here, as Delphine has a lot more momentum. That is perfect for question mark, because now it looks like he will be able to sail into the points paying position without issues. Delphine trapped behind Deed Speedman. He's way faster, but there's nowhere to overtake in the last 5 corners on this racetrack. Deed Speedman running extremely wide. Two laps to go in this feature race here. Delphine trying to do a cut across the rear of Deed Speedman's car. He's faster than him here on the straight, it seems. Right behind him, giving him a push down the straightaway, so both these drivers are going to be extremely fast when they get into the braking zone now. Does Delphine make a dive? He does not. He doesn't need to. Deed Speedman misses the braking zone, and Delphine goes back into 3rd. As we look back at the front, Perrin has closed in now on question mark. So the fight for the pole position is still very much alive with just a lap and a half to go. Fight for 3rd and 4th is still active, but this is the most interesting one because this has 2 championship points on the line. Whoever wins the qualifying race will get 2 championship points. White flag is in the air for the qualifier race. Perrin still right there behind question mark. Trying to take a smoother line out of the final corner. Not final corner, first corner. Perrin right there behind question mark. Coming onto the back straightaway now. Question mark way faster, it would appear, getting onto this back stretch. As Perrin is dropping off. Will he be able to close under braking or maybe acceleration through the hairpin? Here it is. He makes a dive to the inside in the hairpin. And he's got it. It might have been a last lap overtake, but Perrin has got the top spot. Question mark is coming back, though. Falls in line right behind that 48 car. Both of them run a little wide. Question mark pushes Perrin sideways, but Perrin keeps control of it. Question mark throws himself up on the inside, neck and neck for the top spot. This little straightaway is the last serious chance for overtakes here, and question mark is back ahead. Perrin looking to find a way by. There are no overtaking zones here, so Perrin will have to force question mark off the racing line. He put his bumper to him. He pushed him really wide, but that's not going to be enough. Both cars sliding out of the final corner. But at the line, it will be question mark just ahead of Perrin, and third place is going to be Delphine just ahead of Deedspeeman. Fifth place should go to Block. And sixth will go to Kosias Snake. Seventh will go to Root Beer King. Once he finally does get around, that is. Let them know track limits. They cannot utilize the drag strip at all, and they can't put their car beyond the green pavement. So our first qualifying race is over, and we imagine that we'll see track limits tighten up just a little bit as we get into the main race itself. But there's your lineup. Root Beer King not able to finish the race, sadly, but question mark will take home pole. Perrin will be second. So great run by two drivers who had a relatively late start to the season. We'll stand by for just a moment. It looks like Aidman will join. It will be a little bit late, but he is going to be here for the race. That is your points leader. Aidenman and Ample Lemming missing qualifying will lead to them starting in the back of the grid today. Same tune as what was used at Watkins Glen and Road America. They'll have one pace lap, and then they'll go right into the main race itself without further issue. Currently standing by, waiting on Blockman. All right. Nine drivers for today's race. We didn't anticipate that. We honestly were on the bubble on if we were actually going to be able to get a race going today. But question mark will be starting up front. And for Aiden, it's going to be a rough day for him. He's going to have to come from dead last up the grid, while his current biggest rival in the championship, Delphine, started third. But the big plus for Aiden is that Delphine did not get pole, and that will be huge, because that means it will be a little easier for Aiden to maintain his grip on the championship lead right now. As we go around for the pace lap, we will real quickly fill you in on what the current point standings are. When it comes to manufacturer results, Chevrolet continues to dominate them because almost everyone runs Chevrolets with 604 points. There are 360 points for the Ford team and 128 for Toyota, as hardly anyone actually runs Toyota in the series, sadly. When it comes to team points, Rebel Racing still has 403 points, Bizarre Motorsport has 180, Bottom Line has 128, the Racing Team has 123, Red Bull Mexico has 108, and Habit has 78 points. When it comes to the driver points, Stryker is in 13th with 34, Question Mark is 12th with 44, Deed Speedman has 50 in 11th, Kosiet Snake has 64 in 10th, PPR Venom has 72 in 9th, Perrin has 73 in 8th, Kinsey Retro has 78 in 7th, Root Beer King is 86 in 6th, TFB Matter is 94 in 5th, and he is tied with Ample Lemming, who also has 94. Dino Prime has 116, but Dino is not anticipated to make any more starts this season. Delphine has 120 in 2nd, and Aiden is leading with 167 points as it stands right now. Again, Question Mark gained 2 more points for today's race. Very, very important for him in his attempts to try and charge up the championship here. Once again, credit to SRD Schreier for being nice enough to help with hosting parties and being the pace car in the race. Question Mark started up front and spent most of the time up front as well for this event in the qualifier race. However, he had a lot of fight by both Deed Speedman and Perrin thrown against him. Coming down to the last corners, 50-lap race here today. Perrin on the outside, Question Mark on the inside. Who's going to have the advantage going to turn 1? It's going to be a very tight turn 1. Pace car is speeding off, and green flag is underway here at Hockenheim. Question Mark with a much, much better jump coming into the corner, but he has to brake early, and they're all over the track. Delphine gets up there, and there's a multi-car accident in the back of the field. In the back there. As Kosiet Snake is one of the drivers involved, and along with them, it looks like it was Ample Lemming and Aiden Man. So the back of the field ends up in an instant right at the start, and that will likely bring out a lap 1 yellow indeed. So an accident on the very first lap going through turn 1, and Delphine goes from the second row to the front. Huge for him. And Question Mark from first to third. So instance, though, in the back of the field sees Kosiet Snake, who has made almost every single race this season, drop to 10th. And he's going to be back there with Ample Lemming, who's going to be 9th, and Aiden Man. Although, hilariously, despite being involved in that, Aiden Man actually gets a slight advantage. He actually ends up ahead of Ample Lemming and Kosiet Snake, because he was going to start absolutely dead last. Root Beer King still 7th. Root Beer King has had incredible issues trying to keep pace during these races. He is not going to be alone today. Blockman does not have much confidence in his ability in today's event, and feels that he will be stuck in the back with Root Beer King throughout the day. And then just ahead, Deed Speedman, who has slipped down to 5th after he went wide. Actually, oh, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. So Shredder, the pace car, technically is still leading the race because although he did pull off, he ended up pulling right back in front. So it's not official. The pace car is not officially leading laps, but now the pace car will start pulling out away from the field, and they will double up to take the green flag here, coming out of the final corner. Delphine, question mark. This time Delphine has the inside line, and it's green flag underway once more at Hockenheim, and Delphine gets turned sideways. He's going to save it, but they keep pushing all over. Everyone runs extremely wide going out of turn 1. Delphine holds on to the spot as question mark and Perrin resume the fight that they had in the qualifier race. Perrin on the inside of question mark. Dietzbeam is right there ready to capitalize. Aiden already up into 6th position here. Nearly 3 wide. Perrin is pushed off into the dirt, and there's a bunch of cars out there. Question mark is rolling over, and the car is barrel rolling wildly. He's back under control, but a massive rollover accident, and we will see another yellow flag here. Delphine holding on to the top spot, but question mark, the driver who had the pole position, will now lose that spot. As a massive rollover accident. Oh, and the instant under yellow flag as Dietzbeam gets turned sideways. He's not the only one. Blockchain was also involved as everyone was calming down and slowing down under the yellow. Everyone's gathered up. They're not going to bring out the pace car this time because everyone is going to be properly gathered together coming to the green. But now Aiden has gone from last to 2nd. Blockman has actually bounced up to 3rd position by virtue of just avoiding incidents thus far. Coming out of the final corner. They're going to stay under caution speed for... Nope, apparently they went green. A very strange decision, but it looks like everyone decided to go green in single file formation to avoid having another incident. Don't know how much that's going to help. Root Beer King and Perrin are fighting it out back there. Kosiet Snake, Ample Lemon, they're going to be 3 wide in the back of the field back there. And Root Beer King's going to get pushed nearly off. No, he does go off. And he will fall to last place now. As Kosiet Snake closing in on Ample Lemon and question mark ahead. Kosiet Snake runs right into the back of question mark. That's 2 Red Bull cars. That's not going to go over very well in that team. Kosiet Snake's going to try and overtake all of them, but can't make any of it work. As we now look to the front. Teammates fighting for a top 2 positions, top 3, because Dietzbeam is there also, although Dietzbeam is not technically in the same team in this series. All 3 of them do typically run under the same team in other leagues. Perrin, moving up on the inside of Blockman. And Perrin actually was able to get by Dietzbeam as well. Dietzbeam made a significant mistake there. You see Rupert King off into the dirt once more in the background. So Blockman moves back up in the 4th. He's trying to put pressure on Perrin. Question mark coming up through the gate. Here are Blockman up on the inside of Perrin. Gonna force Perrin wide. Dietzbeam now closing in on Blockman as Perrin is starting to pull away just a little bit. To the inside. Blockman, oh, question mark, all sideways going to turn 1. Right there behind him, as now Blockman has begun to hemorrhage positions on the grid. Question mark to his inside. Oh, and he's completely sideways, but he got through. As now Ample Lemming will set his sights on Blockman. think question mark gets lagged out. As Delphine and Aiden are now slamming it out for the top spots. Most of the other battles have pretty much dissipated on the racetrack as we see Deedspearman go way off into the dirt back there. Alright, and coming into the party right now is question mark. Question mark, you took the pole, but it looks like you got disconnected. What happened out there? Curiosity, go ahead and walk us through that massive accident you had coming out of turn 3 on that first restart. Alright, it's an absolute shame because it looked like you were starting to charge back up through the field. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next race, hopefully. Alright, have a good time. Absolute travesty for question mark. A great run in qualifying leads to a dropout in the race itself after a massive rollover accident and a subsequent disconnection. As we continue to see these two drivers go absolutely ham against each other for the first position. Perrin is settled firmly in third, as Deedspearman has fallen way off pace and is actually under threat from Kosiet Snake right now. Not a direct... Oh, Kosiet Snake has Blockman still to deal with as well. So battles are still happening around the racetrack, but for now, the number one focus is on the leaders. It should be noted, Blockman still behind Kosiet Snake, looking to see what he can do to him. 7th place is Ample Lemming, who's only about 3 seconds off of this battle right now. As we turn our focus back to the lead battle, Perrin is falling off significantly, and it looks like Aiden's falling off of Delphine just a little bit. Entering the straight, closing in though using the help of the draft and heavy braking. Not making a lunge that time. He's a little bit smoother gain on the power though, but Delphine has a straighter exit and pulls just a bit on his teammate. Right on board with Blockman as he follows. Kosiet Snake Deedspearman starting to pull away just a bit. But Blockman giving a hard fight against Kosiet Snake. Normally Kosiet Snake spends a lot of his race fighting with Ample Lemming, so this is a very unique scenario for the Mexican Red Bull driver. Fighting someone he doesn't normally spend a lot of time on track going against. He's coming into the dirt a little bit farther up, but not enough to end up sacrificing his position to Kosiet Snake or Blockman. Blockman puts the bumper on 5th. He's having trouble navigating these last 2 corners though. And Lemming seems to be falling off of this battle. As once more we turn our focus on the potential battle for a lead. Delphine's opened up a small gap on Aiden for the moment now. But Aiden closing in under several braking zones. He gets right behind Delphine here, but there's no real overtaking spot at this point of the racetrack. The big thing for Aiden, though, is that right now he has a significant points advantage over Delphine, so he could still afford to finish second. We'll walk out here with the points lead. But there's some pride on the line. Aiden, to the inside of Delphine on the run down to turn 1. Who's going to break early? It's going to be Aiden. But Aiden set the fastest lap of the race that time. So he's flipped the switch. He knows it's go time at the front. Farther back, Blockman has gotten by Kosiet Snake. Kosiet Snake now looking to see if he can find a way back by that black Ford ahead of him. Two Fords going at it. Kosiet Snake dives to the inside here. As we have two sets of battles going on around this track. Out of the hairpin. Aiden on the inside. Delphine on the outside. Delphine putting the power down, but he's not as quick going up through the gears as Aiden is. They're going to be side by side through the next corner. It's a flat out hard corner, and Delphine slots in front of Aiden for just the moment. Aiden trying to come back, though. Right underneath the rear bumper. Now it shoots up to the inside. Neck and neck for the top spot on the run down. Aiden falls back in line behind Delphine for the moment. And once again, this section of the racetrack, you can't normally make an overtake. Aiden doesn't care. He's going to push Delphine wide. Now he's the driver in front. Delphine's going to try and push Aiden wide in the next corner. 2 corners to go. Aiden has to go extremely wide. He will have to sacrifice a little bit of speed so he doesn't end up gaining an advantage. He falls behind Delphine. They're all over each other at the front. And while these two are slamming out, they continue to pull on third place Perrin and the rest of the field. These two have speed that no one else can compare with right now. Kosiet Snake has fallen 4 seconds off of Blockman. He must have gone off into the dirt. So right now, this is the only serious battle on the racetrack, as you can see here on the map. Lemming actually closing in on Kosiet Snake just a little bit. Aiden's fallen off of Delphine by about 1.1 seconds. Aiden missed qualifying altogether. Oh, that did not look good when he was trying to put his power down there. Aiden missed qualifying altogether, started dead last. But through the brief periods of racing we got in the first 2 laps, which was not even a mile and a half worth, honestly, Aiden was able to pull himself up into the top 2, and he's been here ever since. Question now is just going to be, what is it going to look like for fuel and tires as the focus now begins to shift to that? Aiden, 54% fuel, 30% wear all across the car. Delphine, your current race leader, 55% fuel, less tire wear all across. So Delphine has been significantly more conservative when it comes to his tire wear and is in a little bit better position when it comes to fuel. Now the question though is going to be, will that carry on through the rest of the race? Farther back, Perrin, even better position fuel-wise, 59%. He could potentially go a full lap longer than your top 2. And then Dean Smeeman is back here. He has used significantly more fuel than everyone else ahead of him. 5th place is Blockman. His position, the fuel, more comparable to that of the leader. So Blockman might be able to get by Dean Smeeman if his pace is good enough. And then these two, Kosiet Snake and Ample Lemming, back in their fight. We see these two fighting all the time. Kosiet Snake has a slight advantage over Lemming for the moment. And then your last driver on the track for the moment is Root Beer King. Way off pace when it comes to fuel. Oh, and Delphine's made a mistake. Aiden has shot back to the front. Delphine has the inside line through the hairpin. Crossover. A little bit of contact, and Delphine has it. He denied Aiden that inside line altogether. So now Delphine goes back to the front. Aiden right on Delphine's rear bumper. The two of them continue to pull on second place, despite losing oodles of time fighting each other. Aiden is right there behind Delphine. Can't get by him, though, for good. He's been able to get alongside him, even put the car ahead for brief moments, but can't stay ahead of him for any period of time. Under braking now, into these really tight tactical sections. Aiden putting the bumper to Delphine, getting him nice and sideways. While Dino himself is not here, Dino, who is the head of Rebel Racing, wanted his Rebel Racing drivers to show up in XRL US to try and promote Rebel Racing as a team. Well, I think his number 2 and number 3 drivers, himself being number 1, but his number 2 and number 3 drivers being out here pulling massive gaps on the rest of the field while fighting it out is a great way to do so. Aiden right behind Delphine still. Delphine lighting the rear tires up all around the corner there. Closing in, under braking. What's he going to do? Is he going to throw it up to the inside? No, Delphine defends well enough. A little bit of contact, putting the power down, but it's going to be Aiden who actually ends up losing time. Outside by Aiden. Going to turn that into a crossover. Going into this corner. And then a nice little bit of a straight here. Aiden now has the position. Delphine is the one behind. Back under heavy braking now. How hard does Delphine fight against Aiden? This is the longest amount of time that Aiden's been ahead of Delphine thus far in the race. And it looks like he might be gapping Delphine just a bit here. I'll be curious to see if Delphine can close in under braking or not. Aiden runs extremely wide. Delphine completely sideways as well. He closed a little bit, but Aiden got better throttle application coming out of turn 1. Delphine closing in under brakes. So the battle is not over yet. Both of those drivers lining up their rear tires through turn 3, and Delphine's into the dirt. He will have the advantage of draft if he can stay within him, but he lost a lot of speed at a very crucial part of the track. He's going to have to fight hard to close back in. Don't miss the braking zone, Delphine. Aiden ran wide, though. That's perfect for Delphine. He was able to have a little bit cleaner run through the hairpin. The fight continues for the top 2 positions. Aiden extremely slow to defend the inside line. Delphine losing a little bit of time on Aiden. Once they get to about Sector 3, it seems like Aiden is really strong in Sector 3. And then Delphine is stronger in Sectors 1 and 2, but just not quite as consistent. Gap now beginning to open up again in Aiden's favor. Delphine closes very nicely under braking, but Aiden is willing to sacrifice that time if it means that he gets a better run onto the following straightaway. Here we are, Delphine right behind Aiden. If Delphine can avoid sliding to the dirt, he may have a shot at him under braking in the hairpin. He's right in Aiden's draft this time. Losing a little bit of time. A little bit of distance, but he'll be close enough to make a lunge if he wants to. Will he? No, but Aiden runs wide again. Delphine has a much, much tighter line, but ends up losing a lot of time putting the power down. So Aiden holds the position for the moment. Right now, the back of Aiden's car, your current race leader. Looking back at Delphine. Delphine started the race from third, leaped to the front in just a single turn, and led the first 12 laps of this race. But Aiden has come from last to first. Delph's not letting the top position go that easily, though. That's lap traffic there, Root Beer King, and that will actually harm Delphine way more than it did Aiden. Let Aiden know and Delphine know that they are abusing track limits excessively in turn 1. It looks like Aiden is finally pulling on Delphine a bit. The lap traffic really worked in Aiden's favor. It broke Delphine's rhythm and momentum around the circuit. And now Delphine's pushing to try and keep up with Aiden more than actually fighting with him. Oh, and Delphine's into the dirt. And that will likely bring an end to the battle for the lead. So Aiden, last to first challenge complete. As now Delphine has fallen more than 4 seconds off the back, and Root Beer King having absolutely no luck staying on the racetrack whatsoever. But with that in mind, everything is now broken up at this point in the race. There aren't any more active battles. There is the question, though, is if Delphine can close in on Aiden. Delphine has the advantage that he's been a little bit more conservative with his tire wear. As once again, we're going to go ahead and bring up the telemetry when it comes to fuel and tire wear. Aiden, 40 to 50% on all of his tires, as that left front is starting to get past its halfway point in the life cycle, and 25% left in the tank. Delphine, 25% left in the tank also, and he's actually worn his tires almost the exact same amount as Aiden, so he had an advantage when he was in the lead, but I think he burned most of it up fighting with Aiden, and it's worked against him. And then Perrin, your driver in third position, is actually in a much, much better position when it comes to fuel and tires. He could easily stay out for another lap if he so chooses. Fourth place is Deedspeeman. No good when it comes to fuel or tire wear. What? Oh, cool. So I've just been kicked from the race. We'll try and get you back to the action as soon as possible. As a little bit of a technical difficulty has kicked us out from spectating mode, but we will return our focus back to the race as quickly as we can. Anyways, as we were looking at earlier, when it comes to fuel and tire wear, Oh, awesome. Now I've lost all the schemes. Alright, I'm going to back out. And I will try and reload the lobby and see if that will let the schemes properly load or not. Yep, there we are. Now the schemes are properly there. Aiden Man now closing in on Ample Lemming. Wait, has Lemming made his pit stop? I think Lemming may have made his pit stop already. Indeed, Lemming has come out of the pit lane early. Rupert King also making his stop as early as well. So we are under the green flag position, under green flag stops now. Kosiet Snake can go for a while, as can Blockman, who is fighting with Deetsbeeman on the racetrack. Blockman has 17% fuel. Deetsbeeman, though, only at 6%. So Blockman may have an advantage being able to go longer in the fuel tank. Perrin can go farther than anyone else. Again, that's been a great strength of him, both at Lime Rock last week and here at Hockenheim, but he's not been able to convert that very well. Delphine has 14% fuel, and he's closing in on Aiden just a little bit. Aiden was held up by Ample Lemon a lot longer than he wanted, but we can anticipate Aiden and Delphine will pit at around the same point in the race. .3 seconds between Delphine and Perrin. So Perrin, despite being able to turn all these laps by himself, has not been able to close in whatsoever. And we do have another car on track, and that is Kosiet Snake. So the battle is going to be between Ample Lemming and Kosiet Snake. Kosiet Snake already on the run, out of pit lane. Lemming is still 40 seconds behind, but that gap's going to start closing quickly. Not quickly enough, because Lemming has just now gotten onto the front stretch. Kosiet Snake is already a corner and part of a straightaway ahead. In fact, Delphine Lover, he was 4.5 seconds out from the leader. He's now closed it down to about 3 seconds out from Aiden right now. So the gap is starting to contract just a little bit. Deetsbeeman is coming into the pits this lap. Now let Blockman pull ahead and have some laps in clean air. As Blockman will now inherit 4th position on the racetrack. Gap now extending once more to about 3.6 seconds difference. So Delphine not able to close in quite as quickly as he wanted to. And this is still the closest battle on the racetrack, and even then, it's pretty much died off. Delphine went into the dirt about 6 laps ago, and that killed the battle for a lead as Aiden is now cruising at the top of the field. Aiden has won 2 of the 4 races that have taken place thus far. And although he didn't have a great showing at Daytona, he did very well at Lime Rock as well. That is the reason why he is your points leader at this point in the season. As Aiden's closing in on Kostia Snake once more, Blockman has come into the pits, and now this is going to be where it gets interesting. Will Deedspearman be able to overtake Blockman while Blockman is still in pit lane? I think that Deedspearman won't be able to get him. Blockman is just now beginning to move off of pit road, but Deedspearman has just now come out of the final corner. He's going to be a lot faster than Blockman, and his tires will be up to temperature. However, I think Blockman will maintain the track position advantage for a while. Deedspearman is now slipped to 5th, it would appear. Again, his tires are still nice and warm. Blockman's will take a little bit of time to properly heat up. Oh, but Deedspearman completely botches turn 2 and will fail at turn 3 as well, going deep into the dirt. So Blockman has now inherited 4th without issue, as the ability to stay on track is proven to be the biggest problem in today's race for drivers. Your top 2 are now in the pits, and Perrin has stayed out for a little bit longer. He will take over a lead for a short period of time. The question is going to be between Aiden and Delphine, who will have a better run through the pit lane. Aiden already on track. We should see Delphine merging on shortly. And yes, he will. The advantage still goes in Aiden's favor. So now the question is, when will Perrin pit? Can Perrin make this a one-stop race? 9% left in the tank. To make it a one-stop race, you would have to pit on lap 25 or 26. So Perrin would have to do a lot of saving. And again, he had help this time because we ran laps under yellow. So I don't think there's any way that Perrin can convert this into a one-stop race unless we have a lot of yellow in the second half of this event as well. And he's into the dirt. Perrin will likely be able to stay out a few more laps. But realistically, I think he would have to stay out until like lap 27 or 28 if he really wanted to make this a one-stop race. The battle for second, which will turn to the battle for lead once Perrin pits, is heating up just a little bit. It looks like you use about 5%, maybe 6% fuel in a lap for your top 2, well, the drivers who have been top 2 most of the event. So these two will have to pit a second time. Of that, there is no doubt. Delphine is trying to close back in on Aiden Man here. Also of note, Deedspearman, who is in 5th, is starting to close back in on Blockman ahead. So as they've got fresh rubber on, it looks like that might be favoring Deedspearman a little bit more than it is Blockman. As once more we turn our focus to Perrin to see if he's going to make his pit stop this lap or not. Ample Lemming ahead. Lemming has gone a lap down like 3 times today and still ends up back on the lead lap just by virtue of when the leaders are pitting and where he is pitting. Lemming is on a much different pit strategy than everyone else right now. Perrin also saying up to put Root Beer King 2 laps down if Perrin stayed out another lap. No, he's coming in now. Lap 22. So it's very plain he is not going to be able to make this a one-stop race unless there is an excessive amount of yellow. And the amount of yellow that he would need would basically make it a potential one-stop race for everyone who's not ample lemming at this point in the event as well. We should see the top two coming around shortly, the new top two coming around shortly. That will be Aidenman and Delphine. There goes Aiden as he inherits the lead, and Delphine will take second back. Delphine has closed the gap to about 1.5 seconds out from the race leader right now. So the gap is slowly shrinking, and it's not shrinking consistently, though, in Delphine's favor. I've noticed Delphine's made a lot more mistakes than Aiden has throughout this event. Blockman has stayed in front of Deed Speeman for the moment, but these two are now the most active battle on the racetrack, Chevrolet versus Ford. Blockman in fourth, Deed Speeman in fifth. Oh, and Blockman messed up into braking. That will let Deed Speeman get back ahead. Deed Speeman having a little bit of trouble getting on the power, coming onto the main straightaway. Deed Speeman now has the position on track over Blockman. But Blockman's been able to go a lot farther on the fuel and tire wear than Deed Speeman has been able to. As this very earnest battle for fourth position continues, Perrin is in a frustrating position. He's kind of in no man's land in third. He doesn't have the pace to keep up with the two leaders, and strategy, there's no way for him to change the strategy to catch them. But he's way faster than everyone from fourth on back. Perrin is just kind of running a race all by himself. He's not in a position, he's not fast enough to even go after fastest point in the race. Blockman being a little bit more conservative, going through a lot of the corners around this circuit here, and he's opened up a gap on Blockman. So Blockman seems to do better, relative to Deed Speeman at least, as the tires fall off. And considering that Blockman is able to go longer on fuel tank as well, I think this battle isn't over. I think it may swing back in Blockman's favor as time goes forward. As we turn our focus back to the stalking for the lead, Aidenman has to deal with lap traffic. That's Root Beer King ahead. That's really going to hold Aiden up really badly there. And Delphine is going to get by Root Beer King, I think, with less issue. That was perfect for Delphine. And here's the other thing. There's more lap traffic ahead in the form of ample lemming. So Delphine, now lap traffic took him out of the fight earlier. Now it's going the other way. It's bringing him back into the fight. Less than a second between first and second again. Aiden having a little bit of trouble putting the power down, but he still pulls on Delphine. Root Beer King nearly spins out by himself back there. Ample Lemmy's going to be the wild card in this because he's right ahead of these two leaders. Where first and second catch them on the track will be the big defining factor. They come in the same part, and Lemming won't hold up either of them more than the other, it looks like. But Delphine closed in on Aiden under braking now. The fight for the top spot is on once more. This section of the track, Aiden has been stronger than Delphine at. But Delph's had some laps to run by himself. Roughly a third of a second as they go through turn 1. Delphine steps a lot wider, hit the inside curb, and spat that number 47 extremely wide, but he's still right there behind Aiden. Now Aiden's the one lighting up the tires. Delphine taking a much straighter line as Aiden's completely sideways. They made contact, but Delphine got him. They made contact. But Aiden now has the speed on the straightaway. They're going to be neck and neck going into the braking zone in the hairpin. Delphine on the outside and Aiden on the inside. Aiden is going to dive hard and will deny the inside to Delphine. So Aiden will hold on to the top spot for now. Delphine now is in the position that Aiden was at earlier. I must apologize. We are beginning to experience technical difficulties on my end. My controller batteries are dying. I have them plugged in while I'm using them, and they are still dying. So if audio cuts out suddenly, please be aware that there is a massive technical issue on my end going down. We're going to ride on board Delphine for a lap and some change here while we try to take care of the technical issues. Delphine pushing extremely hard to keep up with Aiden. He wants Aiden to catch Kosietsnake at a place where it's going to compromise him, but Delphine is burning his tires up just trying to keep up with his teammate. I don't think it's going to work out in Delphine's favor here. This is his best chance to make a move on Aiden. The inside's been blocked by Kosietsnake, but now Kosietsnake is holding up Delphine. A little bit of contact, and this is it. This is the chance. Delphine on the inside, 3 wide, 2 of them fighting for the lead, and Delphine is going to slot in front of Aiden. Kosietsnake contributing directly to the fight for the lead. Aiden under braking. Will he try and make a move? He pushes Delphine, punts him a little bit wide. Power down. Who's going to have it? Aiden has the inside line. There's a drag race to the next corner. Aiden pushes both of them wide, but Delphine is back out in front. Aiden's going to try and make the crossover in the following corner. And he did it, but Delphine's going to counter crossover in the next corner by the looks of it. Aiden's going to slow down, deny the inside to Delphine. Delphine has to run wide. They're still side by side. One of them's going to have to brake early or they run both themselves into the dirt. No, they're still in it. They're still side by side. This is not a 2-wide corner here. Who's going to hold it? It's going to be Aiden. Delphine saw the chance and went for it. But the battle is still in Aiden's favor, it would appear. Delphine's into the dirt, and that's going to compromise his speed against Aiden horribly, even worse this time than when it did last time. So once again, the battle comes to a close for the top spot. As we turn our focus back once more to the fuel and tire scenario, Aiden, 29 to 33% all around with 50% fuel. Delphine should have comparable fuel mileage. Yep, comparable fuel mileage and roughly the same amount of tire wear. So these two are pretty much evenly matched at this point in this race. And again, Perrin, much better than all of them in fuel and tire wear, but he's so far off pace compared to the top two, and he can't make a strategy turn to a one-stop. So it's not going to help him. Deed Speedman is still running here in 4th position. He has opened up a significant gap on Blockman, but again, Deed Speedman will have to pit very soon compared to everyone else on track. Blockman here in 47%, way behind Deed Speedman, but he can go significantly longer in fuel and tires and is much better as they wear out. So that fight for 4th might not be over. Kosietsnake is in 6th. He has gone a lap down, 42%. He'll have to pit relatively soon as well. Ample Lemming, he is on an alternate pit strategy compared to most of the other drivers. His pit strategy actually mimics closer to what Deed Speedman is doing. And then last is Root Beer King, who is now multiple laps down at this stage of the race. Rear tire is completely burned out, and he will have to make probably 2 more stops before this race is over. But when it comes to pace, our top 2 are even, and Delphine is able to close back in on Aiden once more. Aiden brakes early, defends the inside, but he's going to compromise his exit momentum just a little bit. Not enough, though, for Delphine to capitalize. Aiden holds on to the top spot for the moment. Aiden all sorts of sideways getting onto this straight. Will Delphine make the dive to the inside? Does not. He's going to think better of it for the moment. Sector 3 here. Aiden is stronger than Delphine at. Right now, Delphine's just mirror driving Aiden all the way around the racetrack. Ooh, Aiden did not get a good exit out of the final corner. Delphine got a much better one. Pulls behind. Makes an earlier run into the corner. They both compromise each other's lines, as do the curbs as well. So the fight for first is still very much alive. Aiden ahead of Delphine still. Delphine right in Aiden's draft right now. If Aiden tries to defend the inside, he's going to have a heck of a time fighting with Delphine on the outside. Under braking. Delphine shoots it up to the inside of Aiden. Denies Aiden that corner, but they make contact, and Delphine gets turned sideways. He's able to save the car, but he's going to lose a chunk of time in the process. And now it goes back in Aiden's favor once again. I don't really know if you could really ascribe blame to either party in that scenario. Delphine seems to be closing on Aiden now just a little bit in Sector 3 compared to the way it was earlier. And I have to wonder if one of these two drivers would consider pitting early so they don't have to pit again in the race and try to get some good laps in on a clean racetrack. But Delphine seems to be having a little bit more trouble sticking the fight to Aiden over a long period of time. I'm not saying he can't do it, but he seems to be so much more aggressive than Aiden is. Aiden's being relatively conservative and letting Delphine throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at him. And the problem is, when sometimes it doesn't work, it's costing Delphine significant time and tire wear. Lap traffic not expected to be a problem for the top two for a little bit. Blockman will be the next driver they come up to. He's not even within camera view, and he's anticipated to pit around the same time that these two will. Gap's now opened up to about a second between first and second position. Aiden driving a BeamNG sponsored Chevrolet, that number 13. A number that a lot of drivers in racing do not want to run for fear of bad luck. Aiden completely ignoring that altogether and going hard on that number. But Delphine is coming back just a little bit on the straightaway. He's got the draft off of Aiden. Not close enough to make a dive under braking, though, but he bumps him under braking. Not going to do anything beyond that, but he definitely has rattled Aiden's cage under heavy braking there in the hairpin. Up there, next car on the track ahead is Ample Lemming. Lemming on an alternate pit strategy. He will not have to stop again in this race. But first and second will probably have to pit in about 6 to 7 laps. I can imagine Aiden and Delphine staying out for about 5 more laps on the racetrack right now. And lap traffic, I guess I was wrong, although it's not going to be blocked, man. Root Beer King might end up being an issue for Aiden here. Back under heavy braking. Root Beer King's got to pull completely off the circuit so as to not cause an issue for the leader. He won't cause an issue for the leader, but he's going to fall in line right between Aiden and Delphine. Delphine's actually going to have to make a move to get by Root Beer King legit. He does it without too much of an issue, but it's still going to take more time away from Delphine. Tires are starting to go away for Aiden. For Delphine, it's roughly the same. The two teammates seem to be perfectly matched on this entire racetrack. Oh, indeed, Speeman just got kicked out of the event. Root Beer King has come back into the pits. Alright, and coming into the party right now is Deed Speeman. Deed, go ahead and include your audio as Aiden comes into the pits. Deed, what happened that took you out of the race there? Can you hear me? Go ahead and include your audio. What happened that took you out of the race there?
Oh, I didn't leave. I have another race, and they're having practice right now. I'm in another league, and I'm actually competing for a championship in that one, so I had to go, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, sorry. This race might have been over if we didn't have to wait so long for people to show up for today's race. I'm sorry about that.
Nah, it's all good. No biggie. I understand stuff happens, so. Alright, well, I gotta get out of here, so.
Alright, have a good time.
Adios.
As we now turn our focus on the racetrack, Perrin is inherited third from Aiden. Perrin will have to make another pit stop, but for now, he does have the position over Aiden. The big question is going to be, when does Delphine make a stop? Right now, Delphine has no lap traffic to worry about. Aiden will have to deal with Kosia Snake and Perrin here. Oh, and there's contact between almost everybody there at the moment. Aiden is being significantly held up by lap traffic once more. And for Delphine, that will be good. The thing is, Aiden has fresh tires that he can be very aggressive with right now. But he's being held up by these cars ahead. Kosia Snake is really causing an issue, as is Perrin, but Aiden's finally going to get by them all. But it took Aiden a lot longer than I think he wanted it to. Delphine is in pit road right now. How aggressively will Perrin fight back against Aiden? Perrin will have to pit one more time before this race is over. So there's no way for him to get a position over these two. Delphine is still on pit lane. Delphine is now out of pit road, and I think he's going to inherit the lead. The lap traffic may have held Aiden up too much. No, it did not. Delphine ends up way behind Aiden. So Aiden actually ended up with an advantage by pitting early, despite the lap traffic issue. The good news for Delphine is that Perrin is working on Aiden, and that will slow Aiden down a bit because he's going to have to run defensive against him. Delphine can just turn laps and close in naturally, and Delphine's tires will be slightly fresher. Oh, and Aiden and Perrin both blew the hairpin, and now Delphine's closed in on both of them. But again, Perrin will have to pit He has 31% left in the tank, and you use roughly 5 to 6% in a lap. So Perrin will have to pit again. Right now the situation has changed. Aiden is now happy to see Perrin in second, because Perrin is going to be holding up Delphine. Perrin, we're anticipating, will come in about 4 laps right now. The 2 cars he's racing on track, though, will not have to pit again in this race. Perrin is holding up Delphine, but Perrin's also not really losing time to Aiden. At least not losing a lot of time. I think we can say without a doubt that Perrin is holding up Deed Speedman at this point. I'm not Deed Speedman. Perrin is holding up Delphine. I think if you're in Delphine's position, yes, Perrin will be pitting at about 4 to 5 laps, but you can't afford to spin another 4 or 5 laps, because Perrin seems to be losing about 15 hundredths off of Aiden every lap or so. That will add up quickly here. And here we are. Delphine's going around the outside of Perrin, and we'll get by him. It'll be 13 laps to go when Aiden hits the start-finish line. And here we are. Perrin's coming in to make his final stop now. He's roughly a minute and a half ahead of Blockman. Kosiat Snake is in the pits as well. That's Kosiat Snake in 5th, who's just come into the pit lane. But again, Blockman, not anticipated to be an issue. He's not even on the racetrack as Perrin emerges back onto the course. Delphine second. Aiden started from the back and has led most of this race, but Delphine has put up a strong series of fights against him. It says more often than not, Aiden has ended up on the victorious end over Delphine in those battles. Delphine's not close enough to strike Aiden, but if Aiden was to make a mistake, he would capitalize. The thing is, Delphine has been the one who's been a little bit faster than Aiden, but he's also been making more mistakes. And that's one of the reasons Delphine has lost the lead to Aiden. "12 laps to go right now. The gap, 2.6 seconds in Aiden's favor. Gaps between everyone else on the racetrack is 39, almost 40 seconds or more. So quite frankly, there are no other battles. Oh, and Delphine makes another mistake in the hairpin this time. And the gap is now widening in the last bit of the race in Aiden's favor. I think Delphine's gotten to the dirt because the gap just opened up a massive chunk. And for all intents and purposes, this race is now over. We're going to be silent and right on board Aiden for a few laps here. That's roughly 2 laps on board with your current race leader, Aiden, who has opened up a more than 5-second gap on the rest of the field and has set everyone except second and third place a lap down. There in second, you can see Delphine, who he is closing just a little bit, but it's very late in the race, and there's lap traffic that's not going to work in his favor. Not really anything left on the track to really talk about. All the gaps are 4.5 seconds or more. Ooh, Aiden touches the inside tire barrier there just a little bit. That will bring Delphine a little bit closer, but again, over 3.5 seconds with 6 laps at the line left to go. Gap right now between first and second still hanging at about 3.5, a little bit more than 3.5 seconds. Coming down. 5 laps to go right now. Again, at this point, there is no serious battles going on the racetrack at this point in the race. There's really nothing to talk about. Aiden has done a tremendous job coming from last to first. And while Delphine has spent a good portion of the race fighting with him, the way it is right now, it's gone in Aiden's favor by a significant margin. Aiden would have to make a massive mistake for Delphine to be back in the running. There is lap traffic ahead of Aiden. That is the 5th place car, Ecosia Snake. However, it's so far up the road, I don't think it's going to be an issue for Aiden. While Delphine is closing by small amounts, it's not going to be enough for him to even get to Aiden's rear bumper on the white flag lap to even try and push him off the racetrack. Delphine's now closed it to sub 3 seconds. But I think at this point, Aiden's just trying to manage the gap, manage tires. He's probably turned down the wick just a little bit to reduce the chance of him making a mistake that would send him off the racetrack. Delphine now within 2.5 seconds. Ooh, Aiden, not a good run through the hairpin that time. Delphine, very good run in comparison. Well, Aiden's definitely making Delphine work to try and close in. The gap's now 2.3 seconds. It'll be it's roughly 4.5 laps to go in the race. Very smooth out of the final corner. 4 laps to go at the line. 2.2 seconds is the gap. Delphine and Ample Lemon has gotten disconnected as well. So he's now going to finish behind his teammate Root Beer King. This is the closest Delphine has been for several laps, 1.9 seconds. But again, that's not close enough for him to make a move. He still would need to close by about half a second a lap just to be up alongside Aiden at the end. And this time, Delphine had a bad run through the hairpin. Gap's holding steady for the moment at about 1.9 seconds. I think Aiden realized how much he let Delphine close, and now Aiden's turning the wick back up a bit, so as to not give Delphine a bizarre outside shot at it. There you are, gap still at about 1.9 seconds, 1.8 under braking for Delphine. Delphine makes up most of his positions under braking, but not most of his position, most of his time under braking. Aiden ran extremely wide there. That's not allowed usually, but 3 laps to go. Gap is still in Aiden's favor. And it does not look like Delphine's going to be able to do anything to that number 13 car. Kicking that rear end sideways. This time Aiden had a little bit tougher time getting on the straightaway than Delphine. .2 seconds. Oh, and Aiden's botched to the corner. It's not by a massive amount, but he did make a mistake. Delphine is there now. Well, not there to make a move, but he's 1.1 seconds out. We could be looking at a last lap move by Delphine if Aiden makes another small mistake like that. The gap is now at 0.9 seconds. It'll be 2 laps to go at the line. There will be no more yellows once the leader hits the start-finish line. And we may have a last lap fight for the lead, a last 2 lap fight for the lead on our hands. 4/5 of a second between first and second. Aiden ran a little bit wide. Tell Aiden he can't be running wide in the drag strip section. Coming down to the hairpin once more. Delphine is within the draft of Aiden. The gap is now 0.68 seconds. It has become a verified fight here on the racetrack, and Aiden, another bad run to the hairpin, and Delphine's there. They were side by side for just a moment, but Aiden was able to put the power down a little bit quicker, but Delphine is there. Roughly a lap and a half to go. Delphine lighting the tires up, trying to get by Aiden. Aiden, who has basically dominated most of this race, might lose it if Delphine gets desperate here. Delphine to the inside, neck and neck for a top spot, and Delphine and Aiden make contact. And Delphine somehow keeps it on the racetrack, and Aiden is going to be back in front. Delphine throws it to the inside, gets sideways, body slams Aiden going into the stadium section. Aiden is still ahead. Delphine a little bit faster right now. White flag at the line. Aiden leading Delphine, but Delphine is right there. Only a little bit of contact. The 13 still leads the 47. Under braking once more. Delphine to the inside. Aiden trying the crossover, but the 13's rear tires are all sorts of sideways. Delphine gets pushed by Aiden. Neck and neck. Going down the back straightaway. Delphine is ahead. Aiden is on the inside, though. Aiden will have the preferred inside lane in the hairpin corner. It's a last lap shootout for the win here at Hockenheim. Who's going to get it? Aiden gets ahead of Delphine once more. Delphine has about 3 more spots to try and get by Aiden. Aiden sideways, Delphine's there. He wants to make the crossover. He has roughly one, maybe 2 more serious overtaking spots left. Delphine very aggressive. He's got to run. Is he going to bump Aiden going into these corners? Nothing. Aiden just needs to make sure he doesn't make a mistake, and he will take home the win over Delphine. Last corner now. This time it's Delphine who runs wide. Aiden had to hold off a last lap charge from Delphine, but he's going to get the victory here at Hockenheim. A very close victory, but it's a victory nonetheless. From last to first, Delphine finishes second, And it's going to be Perrin who will come home in the 3rd position. All right, into the booth now. We're going to invite our race winner, Aiden Man 2005. Aiden, missed qualifying, started dead last, and you complete the last to first challenge here at Hockenheim. What do you have to say about an outstanding victory here?
Oversleeping, that's why I missed qualifying. I had no practice. I honestly wasn't expecting what happened at the beginning, the 2 cautions. And those 2 cautions were confusing for me. But I'm surprised that we got the win here today in Hockenheim. So I want to thank the 11 team. I want to thank BeamNG Drive. If you have Steam and you have a computer, you need to get that game. It is really good. And honestly, we had a really good drive here, as we know. But I honestly wasn't expecting this today. So.
All right, Aiden, yes, just go ahead and walk us through, though, from your perspective, those 3 different cases today when you were fighting with Delphine for a lead, including on the last lap.
Alright, so the first time, I'm like, oh god, I'm not gonna pass him. Second time, oh god, he's here now, what am I going to do? Third time, oh god, I better not mess this up. It's the last lap. That's all that was going through my head.
Well, somehow you were able to make it work, and I noticed, at least in my end, it seemed like as the race went on, early on, you were faster than Delphine, but Delphine was better at fighting, and then later in the race, that seemed to change, where Delphine was faster, but you seemed to be better at fighting.
Yeah, I just was better in some of the sections that he didn't have as much pace in, and I just used those sections to the best of my ability to stay in front of him.
Alright, well, it seemed to work out in your favor. Congratulations on 3 wins in a 4-race period.
Thank you.
And now we want to go ahead and turn our focus to Delphine. Delphine, you came home second, led roughly the first 14 laps of the race, and didn't lead laps after that point, but you did end up in front a few times.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about your race, Delphine?
The track was good. The tune was absolute dog water. It has to be so much better. The car was just terrible today, but I mean, second place, 0 practice. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I just wish the car just wasn't so dog water. I really wish, but I'd like to thank our sponsors, Favor, Delivery, T-Mobile, Jack in the Box, definitely. You know, Jack in the Box has been such a huge supporter in our races recently, so gotta appreciate them a lot. Chevrolet, and you know, just gotta hope the best. And congratulations to Aiden, of course, for his victory. Obviously, he's my teammate, so it helps our team a lot, and that's the important thing, is that we can capitalize with our team. The battles, I mean, they were alright. I could have done better. You know, I think there are some technical corners in Hockenheim I was really good at, and the rest were like slagging, but I mean, I don't know. It's just the car was dog water. That's all I have to say.
Alright, well, good job on the second. One question I do have. On that last lap, were you considering bump and running Aiden in any of the corners in the stadium section?
I tried to, but honestly, I thought about it's better to finish 1-2 than to wreck each other out and then have someone else win it. So
you do know that you guys were like a full minute ahead of third, right?
Oh, we were. Well,
yeah, you guys could have crashed on the last 2 laps and still easily fought for the win.
Oh well, I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy racing. But honestly, I'd rather not get penalized, and I'm only here because I don't want to get fined, so thank you.
Alright, well, very Kyle Busch-like. ending response from Delphi. Now I want to go ahead and turn our focus to Perrin. Perrin, same thing today that was at Lime Rock. You had great conservative ability, and you were faster than almost everyone else on the track, but you couldn't actually do anything today. Go ahead and explain the race from your perspective.
Just another one of those getting wrecked at one of the first cautions and having to fight my way up. And by the time I was through everyone, they were about 2,000 feet ahead, and wouldn't say lack of motivation, there was just no reason to push because I wouldn't have made it to them. They didn't have made it on the tires. Then halfway through, once they pit again, I sat with them and just prematurely pit. Because I didn't see a point. It was just free sitting in the back.
Alright. Do you think there's anything that could have been done differently on your end? Like any sort of alternate strategy or anything at all that could have improved your positioning?
Not really. I was just dealing with stuff off the game, but it was really just getting wrecked at that second caution. Getting squeezed between three drivers, it didn't really help.
Alright, well, it's kind of a shame that happened to you, but you were able to recover a third. It's a very respectable run, irregardless, and one of only 3 drivers who didn't go a lap down today, including first and second, so good job on that as well.
Thank you.
Alright, well, also real quickly, just want to see who else is in the party. Does anyone else want to say anything about the race? Or... Alright, Root Beer King, real quickly, another very rough day on your end, but sticking through it brought you home a 6th place finish. What do you have to say about your race today?
Honestly, it's just kind of been a bit of a horrendous show altogether. Was really hoping that we would get out there with the first couple of cautions. We were kind of in the middle of it, and I was kind of feeling good there, but we just kind of lost it due to many things, including bad. It was a bad tune that we had today. Hopefully, we'll be able to compensate for the Bernie's Alps, but honestly, the entire reason why we got the 6th place finish was because of multiple lag outs. I do want to thank Budweiser for letting us run this throwback Bill Elliott scheme. It's honestly a really beautiful scheme, but it just kind of sucks that we couldn't really see this scheme in victory lane. But we'll try next time at Stadplatz.
All right, well, good run. I'm bringing home a 6th place. Also, want to talk to Kosiet Snake real quickly. You were able to bring home a 5th place finishing position. What do you have to say about your day today? Well, I will say this. A lot of the season you've been fighting with ample Lemming. Now, without a doubt, you were ahead of Lemming at race end. Do you think this might spell good for you going forward in the season? Alright. Well, outstanding job on your part, and thank you very much for participating and showing up today as well. Alright, well, that will wrap up our broadcast here at Hockenheim. In about 50 minutes, we'll be on the same channel. It will be the preseason race for the XRL League, the Realistic Racing Length League, for XRL on F1 2021, one of the first main XRL races on the new F1 game. But until that time, I'm Insane Leader 13, signing off for XRL US. Hopefully we can get a race underway next week at Bernice Alps. But until then, farewell.